Hello, friends. Welcome back. Thanks for coming to hang out. Today I have just a few updates on some projects, a little bit of TV reading, and some funness with a new project that I'm going to cast on super soon. So, should be a quick one. Let's just jump right in because I'm super excited to give an update. I talked at length last week about a project that I was having a lot of trouble with. I was making a MegaMini scarf, which is a free pattern by Amos available on Ravelry, and I was using a Valentine's Day mini set, mystery mini set that I had purchased from Yarnaceous Fibers, and the yarn is just so beautiful, and I was just really bumming out because I wasn't loving the project. I wasn't feeling like it was really doing the yarn justice. So I'm not going to go back into everything I talked about last week. If you want to hear me complain about it, you can watch last week's video. So I tucked it away. I just needed a break from it to figure out what I wanted to do. And I had a really light bulb moment, I guess you would call it, but also a huge play on how stupid I was truly being about the abilities of this yarn and what projects it could truly fulfill. So when I was originally looking for a pattern, I was more so looking for a free pattern. I don't have any trouble paying for patterns. It's not it at all. I was just looking for a free pattern. I knew I just wanted something simple. I felt like it had to exist without costing anything, which is how I settled on the MegaMini. When I was searching on Ravelry, it was I was looking for Advent type projects, so it was really limiting my scope. But I was doing that on purpose because I wanted to make sure, because a lot of Christmas Advents are 12. You can find a lot with like 12 different color ways. So I was looking for that, and then I was just going to add on. I had 14 days because it was a countdown to Valentine's Day. So I was just going to add on my 2 extra colors in whatever manner was most appropriate for the project. So that's why I was doing that. Well, my girlfriend and I this is going to seem unrelated, but it's not. My girlfriend and I, who encouraged me how to knit, a long time ago, we used to do knit nights, and then I had to back out for a little bit because of some children's obligations, and then now we're getting back into it again. So last week I took the project over, and I was like, listen, I need you to look at this. We need to talk about this. I need to talk about this with another live human who can look at it and feel it and see how beautiful the yarn is and all these things. So she really liked the scarf, and she was like, I would just finish it. And I was like, but I don't love it. And this yarn is so beautiful. Like, I want to love the project I'm making with it. So then she was like, well, then rip it out. And I was like, this is not helpful. So while I was at her house and we were catching up on things, I was looking again on Ravelry, and I was looking again at Advents. And then I was like, oh, wait, that's not even the timeline of how this happened. Oh my golly. Okay, backtrack. The morning of knit night, I was getting all of my stuff together because when I have knit night at her house, I just go straight from work to her house. So I was getting all my stuff together, all the projects I wanted to take. I usually take a couple things with me because I never know by the end of the day and when we're talking and what mood I'm going to be to work on what project. So I was gathering a couple things, and I was taking my MegaMini scarf with me because I did want to talk to her about it, because again, going back to what I originally said, I wanted a real person to talk to look at, feel, all the things. So I was getting everything together, and I was like, this can't, there has to be more options, right? Like, I know there's more options. There's how many millions of projects available on Ravelry, free or cost, whatever at this point. Like, I just want to be happy with my project. So I was like, but I only have 14 colors, and I have 20 gram minis. And for some reason, you guys, I literally felt so stupid. I was like not computing how many grams, therefore how many yards of yarn I actually had. Like, I was searching through, I really wanted a shawl. So I was searching through the shawls, and I was like, oh my gosh, but this takes like 700 800 yards. Like I don't have that much. What am I going to do? I don't want it to be like weird and wonky and small and not look right and all the things. And then I was like, well, wait a minute. Let me just pause for a second and actually figure out how many yards I have. So then I was like, well, 14 times 20. Okay. Well, that's a lot of grams. And I know that like 100-gram hank of fingering generally has about 430 on the small side of yards. So if I have 240 grams, that's actually a lot of yards. So then I was like, okay, but because I'm so nervous about winging a project and I don't like playing yarn chicken and all these things. So I was like, how can I figure out exactly how many yards are in this, right? Without doing like the math down and estimating. And then I was like, hey, idiot, pull up your order and go back to Maggie's website. And like, I bet it's listed because it's a base that she commonly uses. So even if like the Galentine's Day mini that I bought wasn't available as a listing, like I can still deduce what yardage I have, right? Yeah. So all the information was there, right there on her site. I could have saved myself a whole month of torment. And so the shorter version of this very long story is I figured out exactly how many yards I had and realized my options were like vast. Like I had tons of options. So let's talk about what I decided. So I frogged it. I ripped it all out at my girlfriend's house, and she did say like, you should just finish it. I would just finish it. And then I was like, but I don't want, and she was like, then you should rip it out. So I did. I was like, that's it. I did. I pulled the needles out. I was like, there's no going back. So yeah, anyway, I don't know why do we create so much stress on ourselves, right? Like if we don't like a project, there's a reason. So either put it away or frog it. Like why do we do that to ourselves? Anyway, I found a pattern, and it was a free pattern, because then the other issue okay, so I also don't do very good when there's 1,000 options of things either. Like I get very overwhelmed by choices. So I had saved a couple, and when we were talking about it, I had showed her the few that I was thinking about, and I talked it out loud with like another human being, not just myself or not my husband, who doesn't really understand what I'm saying when it comes to knitting. And I had saved, I think, 3 or 4 different ones, and we were talking about it and how I would do the colors and all these things, and finally decided on one, and it is the 24/7 shawl by Ämma Pettersson. I'm so sorry. I'm, again, not cultured, not good with languages. So it's a free pattern available on Ravelry, and then this is what it looks like. So it's literally just a triangle shawl, like duh, right? But I loved it because she said that she used 200 grams held double. And I was like, that's amazing, because I have 240 grams. So I know how to add that in. So I ended up just, let me show you what I did. First off, I do always forget to mention what bags I have things in. I don't know if people care, but I love it when other podcasters and knitters do it. So I have this living in a little rainbow handled bag, basket, I guess I should say, that I actually got at Dollar General. I don't know if you all have those where you live. I had never been in one until the day that I bought this, which was in the beginning of February. And I was like, Dollar General is kind of amazing, and I feel like I've been missing out my whole life. Anyway, that's besides the point, sorry. So going back, I was at, let me see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I had 11 colors already in the MegaMini scarf. And again, I started that February 1st, and I stopped making it last Tuesday when my last video was, so whatever that date was. So for a billion days, basically, I was working on this one project. Well, I have now successfully, since just Thursday night, which I'm very proud of myself, since Thursday night, I have re-knit almost all 11 of those days. I have this much of day 11 to add in. Obviously, I get it. It's held double now, so clearly it goes a lot faster. But I'm also just really enjoying the project, and it's keeping me engaged because you have to just do increases and decreases like on certain row numbers. So without further ado, the project that I am fully in love with and over halfway done with is the 24/7 shawl. I don't know the best way to show this, so let me just go this way. So this is day 11, so I'm going backwards right now. And then here is the sweet little peak. I love it so much. It's so pretty. I just feel like this does it so much more justice. I'm going to be so much happier with it. I mean, look at how great it is already. It's great. It's so great, and it's toasty, and I love it. I love it so, so much. I'm so happy. I'm so glad that I went with my gut and restarted it. The only thing that I could not figure out, and oh, also a couple more things. I am obsessed with an I-cord edging, like when it's built into the pattern, if that makes sense. I think you can also like add it after the fact. I've never once tried that, but I have done a few patterns with the I-cord, and I just feel like it just makes it look so much more like clean, I guess is a weird word to say for it, but just clean and crisp and polished, I guess. So I love it so much. Like, I literally just love it. I love it so much. I really wish you could see the sparkles in it, but anywho. Oh, so the part that I started I've done I-cord cast-ons, is it called? Like when you begin with an I-cord. I've done that on like 2 or 3 other projects. So I'm not necessarily new to it. Like, I understand the concept of it, but with these directions, and maybe it was just a misunderstanding on my part, but like this is the edging. Like, it's not connected. You know, do you see what I'm saying there? It's not like, see that guy? It's not connected. So I did it 5,000 times. I even followed, I'm doing, well, I set aside for now, but I'm doing like the Traveler Shawl by Andrea Mowry, and she does an I-cord start also. So I even tried following those directions, but then couldn't figure out how to flip to how this pattern did it. But anyway, I mean, I'm just gonna, when I weave in this end, I'm just gonna tuck it down and it'll be fine. But I don't know, just don't know why. I don't know why it's like that. The only thing I can think of, and I'll have to see at the end, but like, she incorporates tassels. So the only thing I was like, well, is that where you're supposed to put the tassels? Like, is it like a purposefully like empty spot for you to put? Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was like a minor thing. Again, it could have just been the writing, my understanding. Maybe it was translated. I don't know. But I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you how happy I am with this now. I love it so much. And the fact that it's just worked up so fast, I just love it. So it's on a 5.5 millimeter needle, which I'm almost certain is what it calls for in the pattern. This pattern, just like the MegaMini scarf, is lends to like different sizes and different weight yarns and all that kind of stuff. But again, I like to follow a pattern how it's written first through, just because I'm not good at venturing off. Oh, so all I did, I mean, not that like you care, but all I did was, I knew I had 14. So I knew I had more yarn than what she was using. So I just did the first 7 colors, which between these 2 pinks right here are the 7 colors. And then that's where I started the decreases when I got to this dark pink. So you can't tell super well. I'm going to try. I mean, I don't actually care about there being like a peak or whatever it's called at the triangle part, but like, you can kind of see like right there is the bottom point. So yeah, I'm just really excited about it, and I love it so much more. I just love it. It's a great little pattern. Again, it's keeping me engaged because I have to count the rows. You don't do, depending on what side of the triangle you're working on, you don't do increases or decreases every other round like other patterns that I've used. It's just well, I guess it would be more of it's not a slow increase and slow decrease, I guess, because you only decrease and you, wait, how does the pattern go? You increase and decrease on rows 1, 3, 5, 6, and 8. So you are increasing, decreasing more than you're just knitting. That's why it's called the 24/7 shawl, because you only knit on rows 2, 4, and 7. That's how she explained it in the pattern. So I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I really hope actually it will be done by next video, because I only have days 12, 13, 14, and half of 11. So I only have 3.5 more colors to add in, and it's just knitting up so fast. So I love that very, very much. Moving on, I have a completed sock. Well, I have to add the heels, but again, I'm not doing that until I make the other sock too. So I was here last time. So this has not gotten a ton of love. So I just did this and I finished the toe. I actually finished the toe this morning. So the rest of the ball, you can't even see it, is in there so that I don't lose it for my heel. And so that I can also match it up when I'm done with the other sock, to make sure the heels are going to be starting like at the same color. So I hope that there's enough. I realized when I showed it in my last video and how long it actually was, I was like, oh, that's like really long. So I tried it on, and figured out how much longer to make it. I don't know where I was going with that. I was trying to think where I was when I was trying it on, because it was in a silly place, but I don't remember. So this is what I have left for the heel. Oh, what I did do though, because I was worried about then not having enough for the toe and the heel, so I did measure a mini that I had previously used on socks just for the heel and the toe to see how much was left in that. It was like a 20-gram mini, and I had 11 grams left. So I roughly used 9 grams for the heel and the toe. So I just kept kept measuring this a bit to make sure that I had at least 5 grams left, because the 9 grams of the heel toe were for 2 socks. So I made sure I had 5 grams of this left, and then I started the toe. So hopefully I did math correctly on that guy. I don't know. You know, you literally never know with me actually. So the ball is going to stay in here. I'm going to get started on the second sock soon. I just love having it on the go. The Luna socks that I've been working on for my grandma have not actually gotten any work done, so I'm not going to show those. But they do live in this Home Sweet Home faux quilted bag. This was from a Polka Dot Creek. They're a Canadian dyer. They do these like sock bundles with like a sock set. I think it comes with a stitch marker and a bag. So this was picked up from one of their little sets. I really love Polka Dot Creek a lot, and I love their colorways a lot. And I hate to be that person, but like if they weren't in Canada, I would be able to buy from them so much more, because that like shipping from Canada is like, I don't know how Canadians do it when they're shipping from the US. It's like insane. It's so insane. And it takes forever, which is not their fault by any means, but you know. Anyway, so that, and then the only other project I've been, well, I started and then I was ignoring because I got really excited about my shawl, is the Sunshine Chevron baby blanket pattern. This is a free pattern that Knit Picks. Did I get this from Knit Picks? I think it's from Knit Picks. Put it out, but it's by Mari. Again, Mari. Oh yeah, it is Knit Picks. Mari Chiba. That is her name right there. And it's just a super cute, I'm cheap and don't print anything in color, but it's just a really sweet chevron pattern for a baby blanket. I have made it a plethora of other times. The very quick update or remembrance, I guess, of this pattern was that I was using stash yarn for it, and I just didn't like how it was turning out. So I ended up getting Karen Simply Soft in the colorway. What is it? Oh, Light Country Blue. It's just a nice toned down, I don't know, I guess it just reminds me, it does remind me of the country. But I've used Caron Simply Soft before, held double for this yarn blanket, and I just really like the sheen to it and how soft it is, and that it's easy to wash for parents because it's 100% acrylic. So I have started, again, I started on that, and then I did realize today actually, I was like, oh shoot, I actually really do need to spend some time working on that. So this is how far I am. And this blanket is made from left to right or right to left. It's not like an up and down blanket. So this will be the entire height of it, I guess. It is a little smushed on my needle, so it is actually bigger than what it's looking like. But I just love the chevrons. It's just a very sweet pattern. That's all I really have to say about it, I guess. I did calculate, so again, I wanted to have this this is for my coworker, for her sister who's having a baby. And I wanted to have this to her by mid-April, tax day very specifically, just because that's mid-April. That's how I remember it. But I need to give it time. I do want to get it washed and blocked. So my goal is to have it done by April 1st, which gives me 14 days to block and dry it to give it to her. So what I did, because I'm so weird, I figured out how much I had left of the pattern to do, like how many rows, and then I divided that by the days, which I don't remember what the days were, but it works out to like 5 rows a day. But the way the pattern is worked, I will do it in 6 rows a day. It's you start a new row, but then you do the exact opposite on the row behind it, so that it's like on each side it looks like 2 of the same row. I don't know if that makes sense at all, what I'm saying. But I don't like ending on an odd row, because then I forget that I have to do the same exact pattern going back. So I like it to end on an even row. So I'm going to do 6 rows a day, which I feel like should totally be doable. And I mean, it should be doable. It should be doable. I normally, when I have to get up with my kid, not have to, in the mornings, I get up very early with my kids to get my 2 older ones on the bus. And then I typically will have about a half an hour in the mornings to like have some coffee and have some like chill out alone quiet time to do some, I knit. So I'm going to try to work on it in those 30 minutes. And I think that I very accidentally roughly timed myself doing 1 row today, and 1 row took me about 4 minutes. So 4 times 6 is 24 minutes, and I have about 30 minutes. So I should be able to get it done in the mornings. And then obviously on the weekends I have more time too, because I do still want to have time to work on other projects too. This is the problem with having so many whips, which I just said last week didn't stress me out. But alas, I'm getting stressed out. So I'm very excited how that's coming along. Again, I really like the way Simply Soft works up with this. I highly recommend this pattern. I'm using US 11 needles, which is 8mm. I think the pattern calls for 10.5 maybe. But I'm a tight knitter. I think I'm a tight knitter. I've never actually proven that to myself. I just always say that I am. But I don't know if I really am. Anyway, I'm not as tight working purl stitches. So maybe I'm not. It doesn't matter. So it calls for a 10.5, which is a 10.5, US 10.5, which is a 6.5mm. It calls for that. But I don't think I have that, which is how I started using the 11s on all my other blankets, and they all turned out great. So, alas, it's getting done. 6 rows a day. 6 rows a day. That's all I got to do. Well, okay. So those are the only 3 things that I've really been working on this week. I am super excited, though. I feel like I don't even have a right to cast anything new on. But my girlfriend, who I have knit night with, who like encouraged me how to knit, all those things, she makes blankets and scarves. She ventured once into trying to make like a tank top, and it turned out like horribly big, so then she didn't want to like ever try again. And she was like, oh, but how many scarves can somebody have? And I said, I know, you should try a garment. So what we decided to do is we are actually both casting on the same garment, and we're going to work on it on our knit nights. So I'm kind of excited to have a project that's specifically for that night. I mean, I get excited about knit nights with her anyway because it's just nice, like, be doing something I love with somebody else who loves it. And obviously, like, I love her, she's my friend, all these things. And it's just nice to catch up and have some social time and be out of the house and stuff like that. So I get excited about knit night anyway. But now I'm like super excited because this is going to solely be like my knit, excuse me, my knit night project. Like, I'm not going to take anything else with me. Well, maybe I will. But anyway, so I'm super excited. I'm excited to help her work through it because she's like super nervous about it. But I'm like, it's going to be okay. So we decided to do the lightweight Raglan pullover, which is a free pattern from Purl Soho. So then we were talking yarn options because she does not want to buy any more yarn, but she does not quite have the stash that I have. And she definitely does not have a stash. It calls for fingering weight yarn. She does not have a stash of fingering weight yarn because she normally uses like worsted or heavier for all of her stuff. So she ended up having a few balls of something that she had pulled out of a project. I can't remember what it was. It might have been the tank top actually that she tried. So she had just enough that we thought she'd be able to make a short sleeve version, which would totally be cute. But then her and I were talking about it yesterday, and she's like, I really don't want to do short sleeve. And I was like, okay, well, so I don't know why I'm dragging this on. So she ended up getting another ball of what she had. So she's good to go. And I was like, ooh, let me buy some yarn. And she's like, and I was like, you're right. You're right. No, you're right. So I came home immediately that night. And well, when I came home, I immediately came to my room to shop my stash. And listen, I have a lot of yarn. I know this. I admit to it. But all of the fingering weight yarn I have, I don't have enough quantity because I had bought them all to make short sleeve or tank top garments. And I want this to be a long sleeve. And it's not like, oh, Sarah, you're just saying you want it long sleeve so that you can go buy more yarn. But no, I actually just generally wear long sleeve. I wear sweaters all year. That's what I'm more comfortable in anyway. The short sleeve patterns that I have for yarn are more for like I can dress them up for work with like a cardigan over it, things like that. So I really did try. Like I really did. I looked at each yardage and I just don't have enough. I just don't. I don't have enough. So I don't know if it's considered splurging. I did go, Purl Soho also happened to be having their spring sale. So I did buy some Purl Soho. Whatever. I don't care. So what I decided on was Sweetgrass. It is an undyed, 65% organic cotton, 35% superfine alpaca in the colorway Buckwheat Beige. And I'll tell you what, I'm stoked about this because I do not have like a neutral. I do have neutral yarn to make a neutral sweater, but I don't actually have like a finished garment bought or made that is a neutral. And I'm just super excited about this. It can be casual. I could probably dress it up a bit to wear it to work. And I've honestly never worked with alpaca yarn either. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get this cast on. We are not having knit night this week, but we are going to have knit night next week. So I'm going to just get everything wound up, get my needles all ready, and I'm really excited. I'm excited to make it for myself. I'm excited to help her make it. Not by any means that I'm like an expert garment knitter or anything like that, but I do have more experience than she does. So I'm hoping that I can boost her confidence a little bit because there's just something so special about making your own garment. There really is. I'm excited. I'm excited. So that's that. That's the upcoming project. That'll get started next week. So I guess I didn't really have to talk about it this week, but the yarn just came in yesterday. So I was really excited. The only other things I have to talk about are TV and reading. These will be quick. I did finish just last night Firefly Lane. It was a series on Netflix. It was many years old, but you know, Mama's been living under a rock or something, so I'm just rediscovering TV here. Finished that last night. Bawled my bloody eyes out. That's all I'm going to say about that. I don't want to spoil anything if for some reason you're going to go and watch it. So I'm on to a new venture. Luckily, I got some awesome suggestions last week for about HBO Max and things like that. So I'm going to dive into HBO Max today, actually. When I'm done with this, I'm going to go make myself some lunch and settle in for a little bit of knitting and TV watching for this afternoon. So I'm going to start on something from HBO Max. Reading, I have finally got my library card fixed, so I can now reuse the Libby app. I was avoiding calling the library because I don't like talking to people and I don't like dealing with things or conflict or problems at all. And it was like a 2-second phone call, and it was embarrassing that I hadn't just taken care of it sooner. Whatever. I did now. So everybody's like going gaga over Frida McFadden. Like, it's all I'm hearing about. So I hopped on that train. There was only one Audible available. Everything else had like a 1,000,000-week wait list. So I listened to The Coworker by Frida McFadden, and I'm just like, eh. And I feel like that's such an unpopular opinion, but it was a very easy listen to. It was short, which I loved that. The storyline was interesting. There were the twists that people say she has, but I was just about it. And sure, I would recommend it. So I don't know. I'm going to definitely read more. But again, there were like, it was like a 1,000-week wait list. And I'm just, so I added myself to something. I think The Housemaid or whatever that one is, because my coworkers at work read it and they all went bananas over it. So I think I'm on the wait list for that, I think. But anyway, until then, I picked up another Curtis Sittenfeld. This will be the second book I've listened to of hers. I read Romantic Comedy, which Summerlee from Summerlee Knits suggested like a few podcasts ago. And I loved that book so much. It was just a fantastic palate cleanser, funny, sweet. It was a romantic comedy. And I loved it so much. So I picked up her book, You Think It, I'll Say It. And I'm listening to it on audiobook. And I'll tell you what, I am having a heck of a time following it. It follows several different people and couples. And I can't keep the storyline straight until it's like minutes into that chapter. And I think part of it is because I'm just missing like when a new chapter starts, because they don't say like chapter 3. They just say like it seems like each story within the story has its own title. So they'll just say like the title and then start reading it. But the voices all sound the same. I've heard a male voice and a female voice, but the female voice at least is doing like multiple different stories. So I'm having a hard time keeping that straight. So I'm not loving that like at all. But I just started listening to it. I'm only, I think, like an hour into it or something. So I will totally finish it. But I think that it would be a better read than listening to it on audio. I am having a hard time keeping it straight. But anyway, so that's what I'm listening to right now. Again, I really cannot read physical books. I have not mastered reading and knitting at the same time. I think it's just a skill that I'm not interested in learning or enhancing at this point. Audiobooks suit me just fine. And then plus I pop them on in the car when I'm running errands and things like that too. So that's it. That's it, guys. Yeah, I'm not going to drag out the closing. That's it. I'm going to go make myself some lunch. I really, really hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.